One. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are live yet again and tried, tested, conquered. If we keep it real with ourselves, we've all been tried, we've all been tested, but by the grace of God, we're sitting here today more than a conqueror. That is the whole purpose of this show. Regardless of what it is that we do, regardless of whatever obstacles we go through, honey, I'm more than a conqueror. I got this thing. So welcome, welcome. Thank you, my OPNS family. Hey, BelaBiz, all about her biz, is definitely in the building. And I always tell you, we have a treat for you. But I think this is like one of them good treats for you today, and I cannot wait to hear from none other than Miss Eva Jane Bunkley. Bella, take the stage.
All right, you guys know how we do make it do. It's BelaBiz, OPNS 97.1. Let's get right into it. I'm going to read you a little bit about Eva, and she's going to tell you the rest. Eva Jane Bunkley is an Atlanta-based two-time Emmy award-winning makeup artist and the inventor of the makeup bullet, the most innovative design this decade in makeup sponge applicator and blender. Eva was makeup artist for Fox 5, Good Day Atlanta for 7 years, and NBC 11 Alive makeup artist for 5 years. Her anointed hands, and I do mean her hands are anointed, people, have touched many celebrity faces, including President Jimmy Carter, Usher, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Jennifer Holliday, Charles S. Dutton, Cicely Tyson, Jamie Foxx, and Randy Jackson. And that's just to name a few. Creflo Dollar, Taffy Dollar, Judge Hatchett, and many, many, many more. Eva considers herself a creative that doesn't limit her artistic endeavors. And she'll talk about that today, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, she's also an award-winning filmmaker. Yes, I said filmmaker, with 2 first-place documentary films projects to her credit. And she continues the media production as a creative passion through her production, Evolution Studios, LLC. Eva loves to give back generously, frequently mentoring young artists in business, and was recently awarded the 2016 Marquee Award for Philanthropy by the Atlanta-based Professional Makeup Artists Conference. She's working diligently at building her brand, Eva Jane, and the Makeup Bullet, which she's going to talk a lot about today. So just get ready through her company, Eva Jane Beauty LLC. She also continues to create innovative beauty products. She presently holds 5. I said 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total registered patents and trademarks. And we'll talk about that too for those who understand. Without further ado, for those who are going to be introduced for the first time, for those who know her, OPNS family, let's give a warm, well of applause for Miss Eva Jane Bunkley. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You are so sweet, Miss Bella. And Shonda, thank you so much for having me join you on this fabulous Friday.
Yes.
We already know, Eva, this is Fabulous Friday. Shanta and I are going to get out the way. I just had to do a quick intro, but you got to tell us about yourself, and you have the floor because it is Fabulous Friday. And Shanta and I did makeup just for you, Eva.
Listen, I tried.
You know, and I am a work in progress right now. By design, I said, I'm going to show people how they can just jazz up their look so that they can look like they didn't just roll out of bed and jump on Zoom. Or jump on a computer, because I know, or just have that blank, like with their name just in their little rectangle because they don't want to turn their camera on. But sometimes you don't have the choice, right? This is where we are. We are living in more of a virtual world than we knew we would be. Right. And I think rising to the occasion is equal parts of grace for one another. As far as just knowing that this is not where a lot of people, we were not stars of our own TV shows last year, but now it's like everybody is a part of the cast. So I've been doing a lot of online instruction when it comes to marrying my 2 careers of makeup artistry and filmmaking, and showing people just different tips and techniques that they can very easily work in so that they can look better on their online personas, because really your brand is showing through. This is who you show yourself to be online right now, is showing this is my brand. And your brand might be representative of, say, a greater brand. It could be the corporation that you work for and you're working from home. But yet it's on you to like put forth. And sometimes they're not giving you those instructions. Right. So very simple things like camera angle, so that you're not looking up somebody's nose when they're on, because there are little devices and things that you can use to help your camera if you're using your computer camera, so that you're engaging a little better. Simple things like this is just an external keyboard. And if you're using your laptop and you're using the camera on your laptop, it might be a great device to have something like the external keyboard and external mouse, so that you don't have to constantly lean into the camera to interact with that keyboard, but you can kind of sit at a comfortable distance.
You're talking about me now? You're talking about me now? I'm going to be leading, because I'm leading in and I'm going to type. So I'm going to take that one for myself.
So I'm going to stop everybody right now. Everybody knows it's your girl, Bella. I'm going to ask the audience, please get your notepad. Here we go again. Get your notepad, get your Android, get a piece of paper. Because I'm telling you, I'm already starting with tip number one. So audience, please make sure you got something to write down. Let's go.
And I have a whole little cheat sheet that I can share with your viewers, your audience. Okay. The easiest way to just, you can look at this, re-look at it. Eva Jane Beauty on Instagram, Eva Jane Bunkley. You can find me on Facebook. I have a whole cheat sheet that I can send out that has a bunch of different gadgets so that your tech can get right. Because if your tech is right, then it's going to help everything else. Like, for instance, right now, my laptop does not have the best camera on it. And when I have to do certain Zoom calls and everything, and I want to be able to say, share with people, look, I'm on Facebook right now. That's what I was doing at the top of this. I'm on Facebook right now. Go ahead and tune in. I don't want to have to use this device and this camera for that, because I want to be able to interact with it. So my computer camera isn't the best. So I have, invested in a really, really good external camera. And because I've done that, then it helps me with my lighting situation, because I don't need, the studio quality lights to be able to use this camera, because it has so much tech built into it that kind of is more forgiving when it comes to that. Because, frankly, a lot of our homes might not have the best light. They might be the room that you had to dedicate to being on Zoom now, you might have converted a closet. You might be in a little corner of your bedroom that's not close to light. So, there's all types of things that you can do to kind of work around and make your situation work for you in the space that you have when it comes to building this whole online persona. You don't need a huge space. You might have two looks. You might have one little corner that looks more homey. You're kind of sitting, like today, I just wanted to look like you're coming to see your girlfriend in my living room. So that's kind of what my space is like. If you are in more of a work environment situation, hey, maybe you have a bookshelf behind you. Those are little tips and things that can kind of switch up the feel of how you put yourself forth online. So those are the types of things that I like to share when it comes to the set design and the tech side of it. Now, when you come into my world as far as the makeup part, I do like to say that contrast and depth perception and those types of things, knowing how to build that in when it comes to your makeup will really, really help boost your whole look online. Okay, I'm slowing down, and I'm at kind of a point. Was it not clear? Do you need me to reiterate before I start to jump to another something?
I'm gonna get the keyboard. You don't have to reiterate. I got it.
Get the external camera, okay?
Okay, that's good to know. It's good to know. Those types of little things help. Very simply. Okay, and this is another thing. Depending on what you are using the meeting for, what the purpose of the meeting is for, you might need to type and do all of that kind of thing. You might need to share your screen. You might need to interact with your keyboard and interact with that computer a little more. But as you can see right now, I've shared with you, I'm using an external camera, but yet I cannot see you all. You all are here on my computer screen, but my camera, the aperture is there. And that, just for me to be able to look into the camera and engage right into that lens, rather than looking at you all right now on my computer screen, which is what I'm doing now, you can see it changes my eye level, and it might, you know, you feel like, oh, she's talking right to me. And that's one of those things where I try to balance that. So I have a little riser for my laptop so that it kind of boosts it up, so I can kind of see you all in my peripheral. I know who I'm talking to. I know, and I can like take a quick glance down if I need to, just to see, hey, did they fall asleep on me? Okay, they're still here. But I'm looking right at you all. So I'm going to move on to what I was saying as far as contrast. And when it comes to kind of give your whole look a little bit of a boost, that's what you're going to do. So I just wanted to do a real quick demonstration using the Makeup Bullet, which is the cosmetic sponge that I patented, created. I was on set one day, and I tend to be a little, I'm not going to say clumsy, but when I get in a rush, I tend to like maybe drop things, can't find things. And the thing that it was my go-to was my makeup sponge. So I found myself constantly, when I'm doing makeup, looking, searching all over my makeup area frantically, like, where did I put that sponge? Yeah. And the thought came to me like, you know, if the thing was stuck to my finger, that'd be one less thing I'm looking for. And then it was like one of those aha moments. Like, wait a second, is that a thing? If it's not a thing, I need to make it a thing.
Now,
so,
the audience, what year was that when you produced and created?
Ooh, okay, so that thought came to my mind many years before I actually did it. It was almost 10 years in my heart and in my mind that I, you know, second guessed myself, wondered if this was something I could actually do. It seems like really a hard thing to like make a product from scratch. I didn't know how to do that. And I didn't know if it would be something that the market would like. And so I hemmed and hawed and doubted and asked this person, asked that person. And finally, I just, you know, I asked somebody who was actually kind of an expert in the field. And that could have been dangerous too, because when God puts something in your heart,
come on,
and you know that it's something that is like, wait, this is something special. It is really, really tough to try to seek outside validation to the point where if that's what you always need and crave, you may never do anything. Because some people, even though they might love you, everybody is coming from their own vantage point. And they might be well-meaning to tell you like, I don't know if that would work. I don't know, because, and they might be looking at it because it's something that they don't feel they could do. Or maybe they're just not your demographic. I mean, quite frankly, or maybe they have some little in their heart that they need to work out. And it might not be anything with you personally, but those are the types of things that you need to walk out and then find your audience. And then to me, I wrote a book called Innovative Beauty, Keys to an Inventor's Success. And it's on Amazon. You can buy it there. But in that book, one thing that I tell people, and I wrote the book because people kept asking me the same questions. They have a product idea. How do I start? I found myself repeating the same things over and over and over and over. And I'm like, that needs to be in the book, that part, so they can get that out of the way. And then we can get kind of to the nitty gritty of what they want to do and how they're going to walk it out and if they're just going to do it. Because to me, there aren't many ideas you shouldn't pursue. I think you should at least walk up to the point of figuring out how to make it happen and walk some things out, because even if you figure out that it was the dumbest thing in the world, you will have learned so much more on those steps to getting that thing done. And maybe you get a product and maybe it just doesn't do what you thought it would do, but yet you've made connections and met people and been places you never would have gone. Absolutely. And in that's when the pivot can come. You can go, because that's market research. Right. You go, you know what, that didn't work, but man, people kept asking me about this aspect of it. Maybe I need to explore that. And then you kind of find the grit within yourself, and you find, either this is something that I am cut out for, to go ahead and pursue. Like if that nagging never goes away, like that wasn't it, but I want to keep going. And that's my encouragement. Like I say, never stop, because really it's a learning process, and you continue to learn, you continue to grow, you become adaptable, you become someone where you're not broken by 2020. You've endured hardship before.
Come on.
Yes.
So I think it builds a sort of resilience when you start to kind of pursue those things, because if it always remains something that you wondered would work, and you never walked out anything to try to make it work, then you're left with this really, really painful nagging. And I'm just one who likes to feed those urges, and just walk them out and see what would happen. And some things, they're hits for a while. And I think that's the nature lots of times of business and markets and things like that. Just because something doesn't work for 20 years, I mean, it might have had its life cycle. Those are like those, gadgets that people put out, they capitalize on them right then, and then they fizzle out like silly bands. I mean, I remember when my kids were little, and that was just all the rage. They got 40 of them all down there. Now, where are they?
Let me say something, Eva, to the audience. My. Bella's got to slow it down with these nuggets. I already got two. And what comes to my mind in scripture is write the vision and make it plain. But more importantly, study and show thyself approved. Audience, what Eva is saying is, you got an idea. Don't worry about what anybody else says. Move forward.
Come on.
In my testimony later on. But thank you, Eva, for that. Go ahead. I had to slow that one down. That's good stuff.
Awesome. So you know what? I'm going to move forward with this face, because y'all are just going to think, okay, so this makeup artist, she's a little oatmeal. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. I got a little hand mirror right here that's going to be my friend, my little assistant. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start to add I'm going to highlight my face. And this is when I took my first theatrical makeup class when I was back at the Ohio State University. We love the "the." We love to stress the "the." The "the" is important. When I was at Ohio State, I learned about highlighting and contouring. And those basic principles of creating dimension in the face, I have carried on to even when I was kind of apprenticing under an amazing makeup artist named Bridget LaDonna Oliver, who has since gone on to glory. But she reinforced and showed me how to incorporate those wonderful techniques in that art class into television makeup. So right now, what I'm doing is, this is just a highlight, and it looks really, really just really out of place by itself. But when you start to bring these steps together, that is when you begin to come into form as another makeup friend.
Well, Eva, don't feel you have to talk continuously. I want to give you a couple of shout outs. It's a lot of people out there loving it. Thank you for joining us, Miss Thompson. Miss Thompson is saying Miss Eva is very encouraging. And we do know. We got some shout outs from Tennessee. We got Michelle Gibson online. She's saying loving it. Good morning. We've got someone named Gwen McClendon. I think I know Gwen. She's calling in from, California. So we know this is a big deal because we're 3 hours ahead. Keep bringing in the comments. We're loving it. What you see over
there? Awesome. So now this is my little contouring. Shanta, what you got going on over there, girl? What's brewing in your mind?
Okay, so I had myself muted. So as you are beautifying yourself here, because like I told you before we went online, you are just naturally beautiful. My mother used to say something to me when we were growing up, because being a musical family, we were always on stage somewhere. And Mama would always say, never create a face, always enhance the one that you have.
All right.
Because you would see people walking around look like you could take a shovel and scoop all of it, and so the basics, the basics of it, I learned as a little girl, and I'm watching you now.
Yeah.
And I put in the comments right now. We're dealing with highlighting and contouring. So now this part, basically you're blending everything
Mm-hmm.
together. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I just kind of make it all come together.
Okay.
And then I am moving on to my brows because I'm still in my 40s. I can claim that for a few more months. So,
Okay.
but my brows have gotten a little more sparse as I've gotten older. But, and then I've, shaped them for so many years. They basically have the shape that I've given them.
Now,
But now,
I'm going to
yeah.
interject because some of the comments are coming in. Robin David is saying good stuff. And I'm going to interject for people who really know me, and I'm going to be transparent. Here goes Bella. I never learned to put on makeup correctly myself. I'm going to put myself out there, Queen. And so I know one of my first questions, which somebody might be asking, I know we've moved on. Eva, how do we determine what matching up? I've always had issues trying to match up, right? My skin color, tone to just what you put on, the basics. I mean, how do we do that? Just some helpful tips. 1, 2, 3s.
Well, okay. So first, you're going to determine what you want to use as far as your skin and what's going to work with you and your lifestyle. Right now, I've just used powders, and these are all pressed powders. This is one of the powders I was using. This is actually Iman. I've loved her line forever, for years and years, just because the colors tend to be very, very rich and lifey. They're not gray. They don't gray you out and all of that. And they go from the fairest to the deepest tones. And she's always had a very wide range line. And I actually ordered that on Amazon because I was like, lines, beauty lines, any type of product line can go through cycles where you can find it in the store for however long, and then all of a sudden that shelf space has been given over to another brand, and then you happen to go in another store. Oh, it's here now. So, all of that is just like online, Amazon. I was able to found it, and I love shopping online, if you can't tell. And then as far as that, like I have oily skin. So powders serve me very well. Sometimes I will use creams too, like cream concealers, liquid foundations, those types of things. And when I do that is usually if I really, really need a look that is going to be even more like extra, like I really want to put on a face, I'll use some creams underneath those powders, and then I set them. Now, there are people whose skin is drier and they prefer using, say, a liquid or a BB cream or a CC cream, something like that on their skin, and that will do. Now this is where it gets a little complicated because I always use at least 3 colors. Whether I'm using my liquids, powders, in the middle, creams, I always use 3 colors. And that's because I always, with my face, I highlight and I contour. And then I put on whatever that base color is. So whatever that base color is, that's the color that's going to match up to your skin. And the easiest way to find that color that's going to match up to your skin is getting a product line, for one, that's going to be very complementary to your undertones. If you tend to be, you can be medium and have very golden undertones, or you can be medium and have very olive or cool undertones. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of finding the product line that's going to have those colors that match up. If you're not going to be savvy enough to start mixing stuff, or if you don't want to spend money on 2-3 different foundations in a line. Back in the day. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop you for a minute because I know how you operate. I just want to slow it down a bit for the audience, because I want them to, number one, for all my lady friends out there, first determine what type of skin do you have. Now, I have dry. I used to have ladies, balance tips. Number one, determine if you are oily, dry, or combination.
I'm combination. So
I use Mary Kay for years. I'm just putting it out there. But my point is, I want the ladies to first determine what type of skin they have, oily, dry, or combination. And then 2, you got to play around with it. I'm going to be transparent. I spent a lot of money trying to find different types of powder to cream to liquid. So that's I'm just being transparent. Unless you have a makeup artist or someone that you can advise you as to what to do. But I just wanted to start back that because I know, Eva, you're moving, but I want the ladies to determine what your skin type is. And it might take a minute, ladies, to figure out matching up the beautiful products that we use for the skin tones. Go ahead, Eve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got to be honest with yourself as far as what you're willing to do.
Right.
That there too, because it might be like, okay, Eva, I hear you. You do all this highlighting and contour. Anybody got time for all that? So getting a color that's at least going to match up to your skin for that foundational part is very important. And you can test that in your jawline area.
Eva, I was just going to ask him to interrupt because I want this audience to get this. Somebody told me match it up on the outside, get the right point of your arm. Is that correct? Somebody told me that a long, long time ago. I'm dating myself.
Yeah, well, the thing is your arm the same color as your face? And if so, then perhaps that could work. But where you're really where the rubber meets the road is where this jawline happens down right in here with this neck. So is your face going to end up a totally different color than your neck, or are you going to have to pull all that down and blend that out? So you look. So usually it's about the jawline. But the thing is, with women of color, especially, and people who spend a lot of time in the elements, you're going to possibly have a lot of uneven coloring. Because for one, the part of you that gets the most sun is going to be this forehead area. Usually your forehead is going to be darker than down here. Yeah. Right. So usually I'm saying, kind of match this up, because even when I blend up to here, by the time it gets to my forehead, I'm turning my forehead a little bit lighter, but then I bring into the contouring, and that's going to bring this color from this forehead that the forehead's kind of naturally turned, and that's going to start to color some of these other areas. And what you're doing is you're helping the camera, because we're talking about online right now, you're helping the camera see the dimension of your face. And it's not just turning everything flat. And that's why they say the camera adds 10 pounds, because it flattens you out. It turns a 3-dimensional being into a 2-dimensional being, to where you don't see that this is curving out. All they see is your face is this. No, and this is where it's, it's narrowing. This is where my cheek is coming in. It doesn't necessarily see all that, so it can kind of round you out. So with the highlighting and the contouring, you're helping the camera see all of the natural curves of your physique, of your face, where your jawline, where your jawline is, where your cheekbones hollow, where if you have more. I've always had a fat face. I've always had this round face. I always envy people who had gaunt faces where you could see all of this bone coming through, and I was just like, oh, so I always try to kind of create that. But they say the ideal, more aesthetically appealing is just this oval face structure. So when you are, doing your highlight and contouring, take it or leave it. It as far as what ideal beauty is, all I say is you just want to help the camera see what you really look like, and that it doesn't flatten you out, and the contrast. So especially it's interesting. They talk about the facial recognition software and how it gets some faces, it doesn't do as well. And lots of times it's the faces of people of color, because it doesn't detect like the subtle contrast, because you might have someone who is very dark in complexion and it's not seeing some of those angles, because we have so much color to us already. So with the contrast and building a little bit of that in, I build it in on the brows. I build it in very simply around the eyes. And you saw me just do a little bit of subtle contouring right in this area. This is another area on my physique that I used to, I had to fall in love with as I became older, because I think when you're young and the types of things that kids maybe pick on, or the types of things that you pick out about yourself that you don't like, I was like, I have too much space. There's too much space between my eye and here. Like, why am I? And now it's just like, oh, it's just more room for eyeshadow. Like, why are you mad about that? But it's just the weirdest thing. So I'm going to show you a wonderful little product.
First time I've heard that one, but okay.
Man, it's not that it's rational. A lot of the things that we don't like about ourselves, they're not rational. It's just, if you are in a place where you're not content,
yes,
you can start to nitpick on yourself and find things that really, might be the most beautiful parts of you.
Oh, yeah.
So I think being surrounded by positivity and people who do love you and know how to express love in a way that is that edifies and builds up is important. And seeing difference as beauty, being able to see something different as beautiful as well. So yeah, that's my soapbox for that. So anyway, this little product right here is actually a newcomer. It's going to be on my website within the next few weeks. But this is fabulous. It's an eyeliner.
I have one.
But it's I know you have one. You got all the stuff ahead of time. It is an eyeliner, but I'm going to show you. It's got this wonderful tip, very precise. And I have a surprise for you about this eyeliner. Y'all don't even know. Y'all aren't even ready.
They're not ready.
They are not ready. I have a super surprise with this eyeliner. Miss Linda, Miss Bella, she knows. BelaBiz knows, but she's not going to tell. Are you going to tell, Miss Bella?
Well, I'm going to just share why she's making herself more fabulous. Eva Jane Bunkley, this is the first announcement. It's my original, can I say glam squad? I can say, I have a glam squad. It's Eva. And I want you all to know, for those who've seen me in other episodes and segments, I look quite differently, don't I?
That's funny.
My glam squad is here this morning, and she did not have time to come make me up. And so I'm
you know what?
Putting myself out there, Eva and Queen. I made my own self up, and for the first
But you know what?
The first time I put on eyelashes by myself.
Different can be beautiful.
Yes.
And we are in a grace period right now. I'm telling you.
Okay.
We need to
experience. So nice. Be nice to Bella. Be nice with the comments. How do I look?
I told you look great. You blended it out really, really good. And I'm gonna tell you, so transparency obviously is how we grow, right? So I'm sitting here, and one of the things, the challenges that I've always had, I'll do my makeup. It looks great. It looks even. Lashes. Okay. It looks even. And then I get in the lights to go live, and I look like I dove into some Vaseline, and I can't stand that. I can't stand it. So it's like, you'll see me positioning. I'm like, why is that so shiny? Because it did not look like that before. But listening to you and what you're teaching now, it's like, okay, the first thing that stood out was, hey, maybe I need to go to a powder, because I have oily to, dry to oily skin, the combination. So maybe what I am using is enhancing or making it appear more oily than I want it. Am I onto something here?
Perhaps. Another product that you might try before jumping into a whole nother thing could just be a mattifying setting spray.
Okay. Well, my stylist wasn't here today, and that's one of the things that she used. And I don't have that in my little handy dandy do it by yourself kit. So I guess let me see. Yep, Makita Phillips. She's on live. She is right here. Makita, I need some finishing spray, because if that's what I need the spray that you use. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to say,
there you go.
I'm going to do a shameless shout out to my daughter, Ashley Buller, because she puts on makeup perfectly. People, y'all don't sleep on take it for granted. People who can just put the makeup on 1, 2, 3, 4, or in the car to stop. Like, I've never been one of those type of people. Never.
Now, so did you all, did it get by you? Did it get by you?
No, because I'm about to go right there. Nope, I'm about to go right there, because our photo shoot last week, Belle, exactly what she did is what Makita did, sitting right there before we went on live. That liner is also a lash glue.
You got it.
The best secret I've ever found. Look, Makita,
you better know it, Eva Jane Bunkley. You better tell them what you got, Eva.
It is an instant eyeliner and eyelash adhesive. So you don't have to wait for it to dry. You just apply, pop, and go, and you're done. So this will appear on my site in about, I'm launching it through the Beauty Lifestyle Network. I'm one of the newest additions there. So my products are going to go live there actually next Wednesday evening. I'm waiting to to like release to the public. And so after that show airs, and then it will become an addition to my site as well. Along with
I don't even understand. This is Belle talking. I'm gonna shut up. Eva gave that to me. I looked at that thing. I said, "Okay, I know.
Yes.
I don't know how to use it."
Under the name of Chestnut Cappuccino and Earth. Okay. Albanita is asking, how do you determine if you're warm, cool, olive, all of that? Okay, so I just look at people and determine their undertones for the most part. You'll have people that, like I have one girlfriend and she's has a very deep, rich brown complexion, but yet she's not the typical what you would find, because a lot of those foundations you'll find will go towards red and like almost turn you to red. She is a very golden undertone, very dark woman. And back in the day, I don't know, I haven't done this in so long. They say that you can take your wrist, you can press, and then look and see what color you kind of see more under here. And, you know, to me, that's a very interesting, like I do see, I think I'm very yellow undertone.
Yellow.
Mine too.
Yellow.
And you can be very deep complexion, but go more yellow. And lots of times I end up mixing everything. And that's the thing. I think powders tend to be way more forgiving. If you get a powder that is a lot closer to your color. Sometimes if I don't like people changing their color when it comes to like powders. So you look for one that's going to be closest to your undertone, and usually those can kind of blend in to your complexion. But I am willing to talk to you offline and we can, you know, figure out what's going to be maybe a good line for you, Albanita, if you want to contact me.
Eva, I have a quick question. It just came to my mind. Since we have a queen, I got to go there. It doesn't make a difference in age. Like I'm thinking about my daughter who's absolutely a millennium versus seasoned age. Does it matter age-wise in terms of buying makeup? It doesn't matter. You just kind of go find what works for you. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure, I can. Because like so many things, skin can change as you get older. And what lots of times I think, you know, they talk about black don't crack. I'm like, yeah, but lots of times it sags. That is usually our thing. Whereas some other cultural, I don't know how am I being politically correct, like white women. And actually, like even with me, I found that to a certain degree, a little bit in my eye area, it's gotten a little crepier, where you kind of see those little lines that kind of start to bring out. So there are maybe colors and formulations that maybe don't favor you as much, to where sometimes if people have extremely crepey skin and it's maybe, you know, starts to seep in. So you might need to add some products to be able to have things kind of sit on top of the skin a little better, rather than like creeping into crevices and everything. So like primers, finishing sprays, those types of things will help the process. Whereas before, when you were younger, maybe all you needed to do was take that little cream, put it on, and it just what it needed to do. But we change. So you might need to find maybe some, you know,
When
I say foundationals, like, you know, when you had to buy your first pair of Spanx or something and you were mad. This girl right here, when I was mad when I had to buy my first pair, because you know, before it's just like foundation garments. Shoot, I don't even wear a bra. You know, I was that girl. So you might need to support and undergird a little more and prep a little more before you're ready to kind of receive all of those products. So yeah, you might be able to use some of the same products, but you might need a little bit of help so that they can sit where they need to sit, whereas before maybe you didn't. And then you might want to avoid certain techniques because of maybe your skin isn't like, this skin used to be here and now it's here, and it's overshadowing your lid a little more than it did before. So you might want to, you know, not be so dark right in here. You might want to brighten that area a little bit. There are just different things that you might want to do. But like for me, I love a smoky eye on older women. I think it looks just sultry and beautiful and whatever, a big lash. I think that older women carry that look very, very gracefully elegant, the poise, the sophistication, the grace it adds. Yeah. I think they always, work. And I think when you're older, I think that you can get away with a lot more in certain situations than you could. Like everybody wants to see the jazzy grandma. It's just like, man, look at her. She doing it, So
well, Eva, I got another question. This is a general question. I know Queen's going to love me for this too. Now, this is a general question. Age doesn't matter. What's a good tip for all of us who have occasionally the dark shadows underneath the eyes due to lack of rest or what have you? Any quick tips for all of us? Because I know we all experience that from time to time.
Oh, dark under eye. And that can be hereditary as well. I mean, I've known a lot of people who just kind of the darkles. I don't do, and you might have noticed when I did my face, I don't do eyeliner under my eyes. And because for me, it kind of, when it does run or when it does like start to, seep away from where it was, it creeps down and it doesn't help the situation. Using a brightener, underneath the eye, using a concealer, using the techniques that I just said, as far as the highlighting is concerned, all throughout this T-zone area, help to brighten the face. Using a color corrector as well. There are color correcting concealers because sometimes those dark circles tend to look a little on the purpley blue side or red magenta side. So looking at your color wheel, going back to the basics of the red, yellow, blue, and looking at what neutralizes it. The salmon color, lots of times there'll be eye creams you can find with kind of the salmon base, or even color corrector concealers that you start off with that kind of neutralize that area, let that sit, and then get it ready for whatever that color of your concealer that you're adding is. And then, getting the rest and all of that. I'm not, we're not trying to be perfect, look perfect, all of that. You want to feel better about yourself. And I think you do what you can do, and then you give yourself grace for the rest. And, the nipping and tucking and all that, and lifting, if that makes you feel better about you, who am I to say? There's all types of new techniques that are out there when it comes to treatments and things. I see new commercials all the time, commercials I've never seen before because I'm watching more TV. Yeah, I mean, there's lots that you can do. And especially with this medium, to me, it's way more forgiving. So if you light yourself well, I had the privilege of being in the presence of Marie Osmond one time. And when she came in, when I was working, it was just like, she's one of those who she knows how to beat her own face. She's done it since she was probably 5 and knows what to do. But she said that Lucille Ball shared a bit of advice with her. And it was just like, good lighting can either take away 10 years or on the other side, bad lighting can add 10. So when it comes to being online, if you light yourself properly, and another thing I will tell you about being online, and I have something on that cheat sheet I was telling people about, because a lot of older women will ask me like, oh my God, I turn on the camera, I feel like I look so bad. Uplighting, that fill light helps too, to kind of fill in some of the darkness that can happen with the down shadows. It's almost like when people turn on a flashlight and tell a spooky story or whatever, and then they create all the shadow on your face. Yeah. That's what happens when you have maybe just like fluorescent ceiling lights or a light in your house that isn't like lighting you and filling in the right way normally. And then who's thinking about lighting from the other side? So sometimes that can be helpful. To have a little bit of a fill light. If anybody's watched like Judge Judy, she has like the most ethereal fill lights like all the way around her that just go, just light her up and like kind of take away any harsh angles. So, I mean, you can make yourself look amazing through lighting when you're doing these calls.
Okay, so OP&S family, lighting.
Lighting.
I think
right.
I'm going to get a couple more ring lights.
Yeah, and I, I have.
The big ones are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big ones can be great. And the filters on them, being able to use the filters to kind of color correct a little bit sometimes might be,
Because I have set lights. I have set lights. But if I had a filter over it, it would not be so bam. So that actually makes sense to me.
Maybe would be, so usually they come with like, different ones. And maybe they're too close. You might be able to, be a little more forgiving and moving back a little bit. So you play with it. You just play with it.
Okay. All right. So obviously we have watched you transform right here beautifully and in front of us. And it was like effortless, and just I can see why you did everything that you did and watching you, but you're hot, honey. Yes, mama. Now, in the beginning of this interview, you let us know that you film, your director. Tell us the other part, I guess you say other part of Eva Jane Bunkley.
Yeah. So, and it's ironic because I just uploaded 2 days ago the first film I ever did. It's called My Mother Was a Butterfly. It's a feature-length documentary about my journey to find out who my mother was. She passed away when I was 6 years old. And I think when you're trying to tell a child about something traumatic, sometimes I don't know, you just change the truth in a way and package it in a way that you think is more palatable for them. Yes. So my family and my grandmother my grandmother raised me. She lived to be 94. She was an amazing woman because at 70 years old, after experiencing the death of her husband, and then 11 months later, her only child, she's left to raise a 6-year-old granddaughter at the age of 70. So she was a phenomenal, strong, courageous woman who was an entrepreneur. She was actually a hairdresser. She had her salon in her basement for a long time. And so that's kind of what the film is about, me trying to find out the truth, because I was always told when I was young that, oh, your mother had a heart attack. But the memories that I had of her were mainly a lot of her drinking very heavily, her being very inebriated on several occasions, and really, really negative situations like occurring because of that in my life. So I was very, I don't know, I had a lot of animosity towards her growing up, just because I figured, from my vantage point, from my perspective, like if you knew you had this responsibility in raising a child, why would you be so, why would you live such a life that was so destructive? And I set out on the journey, and I'd never met my father. And in the documentary, I find him after 33 years, and I meet him, and that's a part of that journey. And I just uploaded it to Amazon so that people with Prime or people who wanted to rent it can watch My Mother Was a Butterfly on Amazon. Yeah, so I was trying to check to see if it's uploaded. It was like, it's in process. I'm not sure if it's there yet, but I'm going to be checking on that today to see if My Mother Was a Butterfly is actually there. But I made that film back in 2000. It took me like 3 years. I finished it in 2007. It went on to win first place at the Kingdomwood Christian Film Festival. It screened many places. I was invited a lot of different places to screen it. Cleveland Public Library System, Hampton University a couple times. It screened in Philadelphia. It screened a lot of other places. And I've done some charity screenings. With Butterfly. So yeah, it was a journey for me that I'm glad I went on. I found a whole nother family through doing it. And so yeah, I've been a producer for about 15, 16 16 years now, over 16 years. I've been on that side of it as well. Worked as a television producer, produced content for other people, and have made 4 of my own films. And another one went on to win the San Diego Christian Film Festival. It's a short called Is She Crazy? And it was a 20-minute documentary about a lady here in Riverdale, Georgia, who preaches on the street.
I know her. I honk at her every time I pass by. I say, keep going. I know who you're talking about.
Evangelist Mary James. Yeah, I did a 20-minute documentary on her life and who she is, because that's all people say. They're like, that lady that stands on the corner, because she has been there for
years.
I did that film in 2011. She'd been there like 5 years at that point, and it's 2020 now. So she's been there like 15 years by now, preaching on that street.
I gotta see that. I have to see that.
And even a little about pivoting and doing this pandemic. You know, you and I have been talking about it for the last 8 or 9 months.
Yes, I have been honing my skills. I was a fashion major, and when I first finished school, I thought that I was going to work more so in wardrobe. And I bought a sewing machine in January to work on just some other projects, some other things that I had in my heart. And then the pandemic hit, and then everybody's making masks. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could do one of those. And I started sewing masks and making those for people. And people were buying masks from me. I was giving them away when I saw a need. And then I just kind of moved on to other things. So I'm like, this whole wardrobe thing. My husband and my sons were actually at the beginning, the precipice of building a new brand. And this is the logo. I could show y'all. This is the logo. And it is called Punch the Clock. And I'm trying to put it up there.
Yeah, we got it. We see it.
It's called Punch the Clock. And it's basically about working on what that dream is in your heart and putting in the work and the time and the effort. And as you work, and as the minutes and the hours and the days and months and years build up, you're doing that 10,000 hours, as Malcolm Gladwell talks about, and you're getting bigger and stronger and smarter and closer to your goal. So setting goals and putting in the work and time and effort it takes to achieve them. That's what Punch the Clock is about. So I have 2 sons, teenage sons. One is a baseball player and budding engineer, and the other is more on the techie side, and he's a golfer and gamer. And, they're working on their own goals, and they see mom and dad working on ours. And we just want to, instill in that whole, nothing can stop you. You're the only one who can stop you when it comes to pursuing a dream. And yes, there are outside external factors. Those are always going to be. We need to put in our efforts and our energies towards being that change and be an example of that change and supporting change when it comes to our local community and our world. And at the same time, being an inspiration to those behind you, those younger kids, because we need vision. We need to be able to see people who are passionate about something and passionate about achieving their goals and dreams and desires.
I love the just your journey. Thank you. We're looking at you being the conqueror over everything, and even with you sharing, which I did not know, and I am. That is my go-to this afternoon. My mother was a butterfly. That is my movie for tonight. And just listening to you, I'm a firm believer that, everybody, they want what they see you have, but they're not willing to put in the work regardless of which way the wind blows,
Everything is work.
Everything is work. I shared it this morning in our first interview for this Fabulous Friday with Mr. Eugene Poole. I shared the fact that, singing, I didn't have to learn how to do that. I was born with that, and then my family, all around me, they were my teachers. So I studied them. So that thing came easy for me. And of course, the older I got, I, would master what I could do with my voice, but I didn't have to really put much effort into that, if you get what I'm saying. And so, so knowing that I wanted to sing, knowing that, it was like, okay, that's who I am. Now, how do I get it on a radio so other people can hear it? Didn't know that. Never went to school for media. Didn't know that. But then I had to study to show myself approved. I had to say, you know what? Okay, now they've said that my music is good enough to be on air, so now I need to get it there. I got to do this part. And then after I did that part, had all of the, coverage, all of the national rotations. Okay, but there was something on the inside of me. I wanted to know more. So I had to do the next part. I remember walking into the radio station. Oh, hair done, nails done, everything did, right? I walked in on a mission and I just said, I want in. The question was, do you have, oh no, absolutely not. I can start in your mailroom. It doesn't matter to me. But I want in because there was something on the inside of me that knew that if I at least was in the room, if I was at least in the building, that it would help develop my craft. You know what I'm saying? For you to be not only asking to be an intern at their station, but now, 15 years later, owning my own. So, it has to start with, Bella said it earlier, writing the vision and making it plain and understanding that all of those trying times and those trying situations, honey, they're merely shaping and molding you into this beautiful picture of you that we're looking at right now. You know what I'm saying? So your journey, definitely tried, tested, and still conquering the brand. Come on, punch the clock, still conquering. Oh God, what is next? You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow.
I'm going to tell you right now, Queen, I'm going shameless plug. You guys can go to BelaBiz.com. Eva, I'm always transparent, was like, you know what, Bella, I'm going to take care of you. She created my first, and I said first because many more coming, line. I'm showing it now. Yeah, I can say my first BelaBiz clothing line was designed by yours truly, Eva Bunkley.
I had you on the other day and didn't even know it. Come on, look at Jesus.
Okay.
Oh, so wow.
Audience, you can do it. We're just talking about right now, short period, before we close out the pandemic. We definitely understand what people are going through. We're going through it too. But women, let me tell you, where there's a will, there's always a way. But more importantly, we got to push through the pain. Because I'm telling you, as God is my witness, even knows my story, what I have in my hand, I only thought about. But girlfriend brought it to fruition, okay? If I can do it, you can do it.
You can do it. Eva, I put on here for the people to go to themakeupbullet.com and use the code OPNS for a great surprise. That's the only way I put it. Because but I want people to go. Even if you're needing the questions, we just watched you transform in front of us beautifully, and so I'm a student. And listen, my stylist is on here. At the end of the day, we all grow best together. That's what this is about. Eva, thank you so very much. And I guess in closing, what do you want to give the people? What nuggets do you want to drop right now that not that we're not going to remember this beautiful face, but that thing that is going to be in our ear and in our mind so we can move forward?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest things I love to share with people is you have the green light. You don't need permission. If you have that voice in your heart and you have a dream, a desire, a goal that you want to pursue, begin. It can be a baby step. It could start with a phone call. It could start with watching a how-to video on YouTube. But you need to water that seed so that it can grow. And then as it grows and as you take those baby steps, then your confidence builds. Because I can tell you all these techniques as far as, it's this and this and this, but all this is about in the set and the great lights is just building your confidence so you can have your full self show through. So, and tamp down that voice of doubt that's telling you, but this, it's always that second guessing voice. That's what needs to be quelled and tapped down. It needs to be, let's see, what could happen if I make a step. So, you don't need permission. You are your own, you steer your own ship. And if you say, you drop anchor here, that's just where you're going to be. So I'd say pull up the anchor, put it in and go and get to moving.
Wow, I don't know, Queen, what to say. I mean, Fabulous Friday. Can I say it gets gooder and gooder?
Gooder and gooder. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so very much for not considering it robbery to share and grow here with us at OPNS. It's getting gooder. That's all I can say. Belle, you can close this thing out and take us
I don't
home.
know if I can close it out. I just want to say, OPNS family, if you want more Eva Jane, let us know.
Thank you so much.
Maybe some special arrangements that maybe have her come back. But you know what, audience? We need to hear from you in order to do that. So this is Bella, new kid on the block, BelaBiz, OPNS 97.1. Don't you touch that dial. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Hold tight.
Thank you.